Welcome to the High Performance Edge, the podcast for contractors who lead with building science and want to turn that advantage into a stronger, more successful business. Whether you're in HVAC, insulation, solar, or home performance, we dig into strategy, sales, marketing, operations, hiring, and customer service approaches that power stable, more profitable companies. Hear from top contractors and industry experts as we explore what it takes to thrive as a very different kind of contractor. Here's your host, founder and CEO of Energy Circle, Peter Troast.
Hey everyone, thanks for being here. Today's guest is Keith O'Hara of Eco Performance Builders in California, a guy who's been the envy of the high-performance contracting world for years. Keith is known for doing only comprehensive projects, envelope, ducts, and heat pumps all in one scope, and for being relentless about measured performance. He walks us through the grind years, how he built a word-of-mouth engine by obsessing over quality, and how he trains his team to achieve awesomeness with super ambitious targets for delivered airflow, zero duct leakage, and real envelope improvements. Keith is proof that ultra-high performance contracting isn't a boutique niche. His company's thriving, growing, and on its way to 8-digit annual revenue. Let's dive in. Keith, in so many ways, you are the quintessential high-performance contractor, and your approach and the success you've had at Eco Performance Builders is exactly why we launched the High Performance Edge podcast. So first of all, thanks so much for being here. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. It's an honor to be on the High Performance podcast with Peter Troast.
So for those of you who know about Keith from his appearances at the conferences, and Keith is also one of the organizers, founders of what used to be called the Dry Climate Forum, is now called the Measured Performance Forum. He's been the envy of the home performance world. So average ticket sizes approaching $40,000, always comprehensive jobs that address the envelope and ducts and mechanical systems. And you have this obvious reputation for measured performance. A lot of people may not know that from a business success standpoint, you're now approaching $9 million in revenue this year. So it's an incredible story, but I imagine that, the pathway to finding yourself to kind of where you are today, probably wasn't a particularly straight line. So I think it's worth spending a little time going back to the beginning. How did you get started, in the kind of middle years of kind of figuring out the business side of things? What are some stories to be told there? And how did you end up getting to where you are today?
Yeah. Well, thanks for all that. I don't know that I should be anyone's envy. We just worked really hard to get where we're at. I love my company. I love what I do. And most of the people here love it too. I started out as a carpenter. So I was a carpenter through college, majored in wood shop in high school. I became a carpenter after, foundation framing, finished carpentry, and building custom homes with my brother. I liked it, right? I enjoyed it a lot. Enjoyed working with my hands, and got my contractor's license and started taking energy efficiency courses and reading books, and ended up in a class with Rick Chitwood where he explained about home performance. And I'd never heard of the word or the term, and just got really into it. Started buying duct blasters and blower doors and figuring things out, and fired all the subcontractors I had that did insulation and HVAC after that. And then just started doing it myself. And then that was 2009, so it's pretty slow economy as far as building. And found that people wanted me to fix their homes. So I started doing that and hustling the rebate programs and things like that, and then getting our name out there and trying to do more work. And, took about a year or so to even get paid personally. But I started that company with my brother. And then a few years later, I ended up buying him out. We went different directions, and just kept hiring and building and trying to refine process and get more work, do more things, do them better, do them more efficiently, portray our message better so people can understand what we're doing, so we could have a better impact on our local economies as far as selling the products that we were doing, the services, and just kept going, and just doing it still today, right? So still figuring it out.
Yeah. My impression today is that things are pretty well tuned. Like you've really got a machine that is working on kind of all cylinders. What did it take to get to this place?
I don't know. I mean, things always look like that from the outside, right? So days are chaotic as well, right? Things get crazy. Projects go out of whack sometimes. It's just about getting to the bottom of those things, right? Figuring out what's going wrong, what's going right, and doing more of the right things. So it's just a constant grind, especially growing a company, as a lot of people out there listening know, like things change all the time. If you're not open to changing that stuff, like it doesn't work.
I mentioned in the outset that you've got this reputation for these very high average ticket sizes and very comprehensive jobs. I guess maybe first of all is what is a typical job for you?
A typical project for us is eh, removing attic insulation. In our West Coast California homes here, a lot of ducts are in the attic, systems are in the attic or in a closet and crammed in there with a return in the attic or a return in the crawl space. And so we have to deal with an attic. We kind of have to deal with all of it. So we remove all the ducts, remove all the attic insulation, move the equipment, air seal the attic, fix the ventilation issues, and then put in our system. We raise a bench up, a platform, so we can put a new system centrally located in the attic. And then we put short, tight, leak-free ducts in and throw from the interior wall to the exterior, so there's less length in the ductwork. And then we bury it all in insulation afterwards. So we build up the attic hatch and everything's buried. And then if people really want to do something awesome, we'll put a vapor barrier in the crawl space, or the system may go in the crawl space if there's enough room. And in our hot, dry climate, like we could bury ducts and insulations. It's no problem. Condensation. And then we add ventilation, whether it's just a spot ventilation bath fans that run continuously, or in some cases an ERV or HRV, but not a lot of those anymore. Yeah, generally, and they're all heat pump inverter, ducted heat pump systems mainly. That's basically what we always recommend is the best.
Yeah. So am I correct that you are 100% electric in all cases?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, pretty much. Like if, I had like an aunt or something that wanted a furnace, like I would put a furnace in for her. Like we just don't sell those things. Like we put plenty of furnaces in the past and hydronic air handlers off of high efficient gas water heater systems. Predominantly it's all 100% heat pump systems, electric systems, heat pump water heaters, and then the space heating, conditioning.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's a good segue into, I think what some might say is the elephant in the room, which is that people look at your success, but say you're in this very unique economy in the Bay Area in California where you've got climate motivated customers, you've got people with money, you've got, sort of a forgiving climate zone, at least on the bay side of the hills. And I know all of that is not necessarily true. So I think this would be a good time to sort of make sure that people do understand that your marketplace is not this super unique unicorn of a place to do business. Am I right about that?
There's lots of little microclimates as far as like you could drive 10 minutes and it'll be a 30-degree difference in the summer through the tunnel, right? And there's also microclimates of economies. So whereas some parts of the East Bay are not as affluent as other parts, right? Like it's a huge range where if you drive 20 more minutes, like the cost of a home may go down by $500,000, like the average cost. Like it's very micro, like it's very isolated in its own little worlds, like in some of those areas. So, and what we lack in climate, like compared to say Minnesota or Florida with humidity, like we make up for with utility bill rates. Like our utility bills are over 50 cents a kilowatt hour.
Yeah.
It's not easy anywhere getting people to adopt a new approach, right? I consider us a disruptor to an industry. And so that's what you would be anywhere. I don't think there's a lot of this going on anywhere, and there should be more because I think there's a huge opportunity for it. Like people want to insulate their homes. They want to have good HVAC systems. They just don't understand that there are those options.
Yeah.
So, and that's what we started out doing. People would call for insulation. They would call for simple HVAC stuff, but a lot of just insulation leads. We would go there and look at everything. Hey, man, you should really be thinking about all this stuff, right? And they'd say, what are you talking about? And I was kicked out of homes. Like, you need to leave. And I was like, oh, that's funny. No, really, you need to leave. And so I was like, okay. So I would leave that house and then we'd try again.
Yeah.
And certain people want to do it. And once they find out about it, they're like, why aren't all homes like this? Why does everyone do this? I don't know.
Well, I guess that's a good place to jump off, which is, you submitted a proposal that you're going to be delivering at the National Home Performance Conference in Columbus next year. And, talked about this as kind of this relentless approach to quality around both workmanship as well as kind of measured performance. And you're relentless about it. At the same time, I think you just mentioned this, like homeowners just don't tend to know, any of this, right? We call it the just don't know gap, which is most homeowners can't tell the difference between a fantastic contractor like you and any run of the mill contractor. And so, um, I guess tell us a little bit more about your approach to quality and how that manifests itself in ways that homeowners can actually understand.
As a carpenter or as anything I wanted to do, like I wanted to do it really well. I wanted to be good at it or great and just be the best if you can. Like that was just always the goal. And so with HVAC, it was something that had to be measured. It wasn't intuitive, right? Like as a carpenter, like you could tell you could walk into one of my finished kitchens, be like, wow, the crown molding's amazing. You're a really good carpenter. And be like, hey, thank you very much. Like you couldn't see nail holes and things. But then the HVAC system, like the HVAC person was like, did you do a good job? And they're like, yeah, can't you tell? And I'm like, well, I don't know. And then it's nothing to do with how it looks. So it wasn't intuitive. So we just had to start measuring and measuring and measuring. And like people like Rick Chitwood and Mike McFarland and Dan Gavin, like push into like measure it and figure out what it is that what should the results be? So we'd measure outputs, we data log, we do all this crazy stuff to figure out what it is, and found out the industry like was doing a lot of things wrong. And from airflow standards to static pressure to watt draw to delivered performance to BTU, and just analyzing it all and trying to figure it out. And so doing that and then building systems around that to be able to put in much smaller systems, be able to put in systems that just worked a lot better, that were a lot quieter, used a lot like less electricity, and just delivered better air quality because they weren't leaking. Because that was one standard. Like, why should ducts leak? Like, it's like, well, I don't think they should.
Yeah.
And so selling that is a little weird because people call they'll call 3-4 contractors, right? And then it turned out we were the only ones who had these ideas. Like your house is going to perform fantastic because we're going to split them up. The ducts won't leak, so your kid won't have as much asthma symptoms. And like there's like, well, no one talks like that. And at that point, people are smart. They want to make good decisions, and just you got to get in there. You got to get them to call you.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's the part that I'm most curious about, because I have no doubt that once you are in the home, or once you're even on the phone, I do want to talk in a second about your process, but it's really how someone chooses to call you, chooses you to put you on the list for getting a quote. I mean, what is your sense of, you've done, I think, 2,000 jobs or something like that, and obviously your reputation's really, really good. How are you communicating with people who just, really don't have any idea what we're talking about with this measured performance stuff, don't really care, at a sort of a technical level, but they want to fix their house? How are you getting them in the door in the first place?
I mean, they call, right?
Yeah.
We don't go door to door or anything. So it's usually word of mouth, referrals, and that is our major source of leads. And so to do that, like you have to deliver high quality service, whether it's that's the delivered performance, that's doing a good job. It's staff communicating well at the beginning, from first phone call to scheduling to sales follow through to on the job, staying clean and approachable and communicative to the end, making sure everything's finished and everything's dialed and people are satisfied. So it's a whole thing, right? I mean,
Yeah.
And then people want to know that they want value, right? So they want quality. Sometimes it's scary. People hear high quality, they hear expensive. I think we just got a Yelp review the other day. This guy said he called 4 other contractors. We were the cheapest.
Really interesting.
So I don't know. We've heard that over and over. So I don't know why that is. I don't know what they're doing. Those people would have been done in 2 days. It took me 7,
And you were cheaper.
They're done in a day. So like at the end of the day, like those people hit the lottery, right? Because I did this awesome things and they got something way better than they would have otherwise. But the market's flooded with these kind of not things that we do kind of characters, right? And so you have to just hopefully get enough word out there where people call you. Like it would have been an easier road if I had advertised, if I had called Peter Troast and said, hey, I want to advertise, but I didn't have any money. And I was so scared. I put all my money into quality. I should have, hindsight, like it would have been nice to balance that out because it took a long time to get here. Where I think a balanced approach would be nice, right? You're able to still focus highly on quality and then get lots of referrals, but still like, there were some tight times, right? Where, we're really worried. Is the phone ringing? Like we weren't growing enough. But I think I would have taken a little more chances with that stuff. But generally, we haven't advertised at all. I think we've done like a little bit just to have a Yelp page or something. We give them a little money. And actually, we just started advertising for the first time in 16 years a month ago. So, and I don't know how that's going, but we just kind of tiptoed into it a little bit. We're going to put logos on our vans for the first time ever. Gonna be crazy around here.
Yeah, well, listen, kudos to you. Everyone should wish for as many kind of natural sort of word of mouth leads as you are able to get. And I guess I'd just like to talk a little bit more about that. Is there any, I mean, do you measure that side of it, like the source of the referrals, and is there anything systematic about how you've turned that referral machine into such a successful thing?
No, we don't ask people for referrals. We don't ask them for other people's numbers. We don't ask them to refer us. We don't do anything. We are as low tech as it gets as far as that stuff, and as high tech as it gets, and the best as it comes when it comes to the other things, right? So my focus just been so much in the grind of like being great, and like the other stuff, like we're trying to catch up with those things.
Yeah,
And so, no, the phone rings. We're super happy about it. Like
yeah.
we measure it. We have a CRM. Like we know where the leads are coming from. And generally it's from referrals. And other, Yelp gives us referrals and people file, we found you online, or the rebate program, or this and that. Like, but generally like the jobs are coming from the referrals. And so we measure it. Yeah, we measure how many calls come in a day, how many of those turn into opportunities, how many of those opportunities turn into projects, our close rates. I measure all of those things. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Talk a little bit about your process, because I know you have, that's evolved over time, and I know that you're doing things a little bit differently in terms of what happens on the first phone call, and then when you apply diagnostics and so forth. So just walk us through that quickly.
Yeah. So somebody calls. We used to go do an audit, all the stuff, and charge for an audit, or do a walkthrough. And turned out like the math was there behind us, that the walkthroughs were just better, where we just go and we look at a home, we vet them on the phone, make sure it's a good fit for them and for us, and then go look at the home. We're there for an hour or two, sometimes, and coming up with an estimate. We built our own estimate software because we couldn't find what exactly was going to fit our mold. And I had kind of a computer background with software. And so we hired that out, and that worked out really well. So we come up with a custom proposal really quickly. We do a review of it the next day or 2 days later. And then they have questions, right? Because it's a different approach. So there's
Yeah.
lots of Q&A. And then they either go with it or they don't. About half the people say yes.
Okay, so you're
So then once that's done, then we go back and we have a line item for going back to do a blower door, do a manual J, room by room load calcs. We measure the whole home, do load calcs, and then we engineer the whole system, choose actual selection of the system, which is usually we guessed on the contract what it would be. And then if it changes, there's a little change order, but we're usually pretty close. And then all the ducts, all the fittings, all the takeoffs, everything's done and ready for the crew, and then gets delivered by the warehouse and then gets built out by the crew.
got it, got it. So you found your way to that process. I mean, you mentioned that you used to do the traditional energy audit. At the same time, Kyle, who I think is doing most of your visits in the home, is an extraordinary person,
Yeah.
and demonstrates a whole lot of knowledge of building science.
Yeah, Kyle's amazing. He's awesome. He's been with us, I think, like 11 years or something, or 12 years, something crazy. He's awesome. He knows what we do.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's use that to jump off and talk a little bit more about the rest of your team, because I know, your approach to quality has a lot to do with the investments that you made in training and so forth. So tell us a little bit more. You're famous for your SOPs, and say more about how that's become kind of more central to your approach.
I mean, we need to get more into the SOPs. Like we have a lot of SOPs and we train to them. So we do training after hours here at the shop for the crew. I mean, we're just trying to get everyone to do the same thing, right? That's the goal, is like when you're building a flare connection, when you're brazing something, when you're using the ProPress tool, like whatever you're doing, you're putting ducts together, like we just want it to be the same in high quality. So it's not everyone's trained the same way kind of thing. And it's hard, right? Super hard. But if you want great results, like you need to repeat the process. So we try to work on that. Like we don't have like we used to have a binder of SOPs and stuff. It didn't work as well as we thought it would. So it's more just training to a central process. And then if it changes, like it's a team decision that we change the process. Like, oh, okay, like maybe we don't need that extra 90 in the field here, or this and that. Like if the turn is this much, like how tight does the duct have to be? Like, and we never change the zero leakage barrier that we want to approach want to get for ducts, but airflow standards, things like that. Like just it goes all the way from the design. Like the design is a all process, right? Like how is that? Like I don't do the design anymore, but I wanted them to do it just like I did. So
Yeah.
you have to train that. So it's not just hoping, like you're training and then following through and verifying. Like it's super hard. All the stuff. This is super fun to do because it's a constant challenge of all these things.
Give us a little bit of how the recruiting side of your world has been. And then I think also, if you would touch on you said that people do some of that training after hours. Are they getting paid for that? And how do you balance sort of on the clock training versus what you expect people to do on their own time?
So recruiting, I mean, we just we use Bamboo HR, which is uses Indeed, and it puts ads out and we vet them. And Tammy, our CSR, who's amazing, like she just took that on. So it's like it's great. She vets them best we can. I got a few questions she asks them on the phone. They come in for an in-person interview. Then we send them to the field and try to scare them, right? Try to say, hey, this is hard work, and you're going to be mainly bring entry-level people in. So most
Yeah.
of the people we had, like entry-level, I don't have anyone that came from the HVAC industry that works for me, or maybe one person from the insulation industry that works for me. So that part's interesting, right? They come in, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but been pretty good lately. Like we've been happy with our current set of people. Like
Yeah.
they've been doing great. Our retention's been awesome. Like
No one from traditional HVAC and maybe one person from insulation. Is that a qualifying criteria that you use, that you don't want people that have
they
experience?
just don't come. They don't interview. They don't apply.
Really?
I don't know. We generally just do entry level and then build from there. That takes a long time.
Yeah.
Right. But then you get everyone doing exactly what you want to do. They don't know another reality than zero duct leakage or tight ducts or 90 at a turn ducts and bearing insulation and not crushing it. Like they know our way.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
So it works out.
And I think once people are in, my understanding is a very clear ladder of accomplishments that bring them up in terms of both wage as well as as well as kind of position, et cetera. Is that right?
Yeah. Training tracker.
Yeah.
So getting to tech 1, tech 2, tech 3, lead, tech 4, like trying to move up, get those skills in, and those skills are done they're trained in the field. They're trained with written curriculum. They're trained with after hours. So we do after hours training. It is volunteer. I pay my leads to come in and they'll come to the shop. They'll do a training on whatever people want, but we try to get those trackers filled, like things that are missing from people's repertoire of skills.
Yeah.
And they can come in, we'll get them pizza, we'll get them drinks, we'll get them anything they want, all the tools, we'll hand out free tools during those training sessions. And then the people that succeed, they go.
Yeah. And just to clarify, so that what you just described, though, the bulk of that time is on their own time, and people are willing to do it because of the opportunity to improve their compensation and move up.
Sure. Like even look at union training, it's the same thing, right? They'll go on unemployment for 2 weeks and go to trainings.
Hmm.
Or they'll do 2 nights a week, or they'll do 2 weeks a semester kind of thing. Like that's pretty typical. We also do paid training,
Yeah.
obviously, like people to manufacture training, bring people here, do trainings once a month in the house here just for a little bit. But generally like that highly technical training where what happens, you need to slow it down. Like you can learn on the job, but you never totally get the full thing because you're trying to finish something. And so the crew lead is like, oh no, I got it. We got to be done here. I'll get this done. And they don't get that to slow it down. So what happens here at the shop is you could slow that down a little bit and go through it more systematically. And as we get more and more, like I think more and more of it will turn into more paid training where it's taking time off the job to go get something else accomplished, like another training specific. It's just something I created a long time ago.
Yeah.
Where if you look at my crew leads, like the crew leads I have and my production manager, like that's how they got to where they are. Like they were the ones that came into the training that I did.
Yeah.
And now they're the ones training the next generation. So they kind of push them, say, hey, man, you need to do this. It's a big deal.
Yeah. And all of the curriculum and all the materials around the training you've created yourself, right?
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes we could find things that are good, but generally, yeah.
Okay. Well,
Some of the things are easier, like brazing. We don't have something proprietary with
Right.
brazing. Like, there's general rules for how to do that really well. But putting ducts together, like, there's no training I could send anyone to put ducts together.
yeah.
And how we do evacuation or vacuum down or pressure tests or leak tests for refrigerant lines. Like, I don't know of anyone that does it like I do it, and everyone else does it different than everyone else. So you have to kind of build those things yourself.
Yeah. And what happens if a job is not to satisfaction on test out and there is a callback or someone needs to go back and correct something or fix something? Is that on whose dime is that? Is everybody getting full pay for doing those?
Oh yeah, no, for
Okay.
sure. Yeah, I believe in the whole John Tooley like process over blame, and we just want to go see what's going on. Like sometimes we want to send someone else who didn't do it to see what happened, so we can get to the bottom of it
Yeah.
even. And just like, hey, let's figure like how can we not have this not happen? Oh, we're getting a lot of that. Like, how can we have that not happen anymore? Like, I'm so much more interested in how to resolve it so it doesn't happen
Yeah.
anymore. Aims, and it makes for a much better culture. But yeah, I mean, yeah, we just go back, we fix things, right? That's what we do.
Yeah.
We have a service person that goes and fixes things. We have our crews that go fix things that happen.
Yeah.
Things happen. I don't care who you
Yeah.
are. Like there's defect. It's everywhere. It's construction. It's crazy. Houses are old.
Yeah. But that I would believe, and correct me if this is wrong, that the thoroughness of your planning phase also sets out what the metrics are that you need to achieve in terms of air leakage and all of the things.
Yeah. We have target blower door numbers, exit for out, target zero leakage ducts, target airflows that we're trying to hit. Target watt trawl, target BTUs, target all those things. And the more we got into it, we don't have to check the super nuts and bolts of like delivered performance, but we do that we're going to start doing it again on everything, but we do it periodically now. So, but the other numbers get us right where we know we're going to be with the airflow targets.
And everyone knows that that's really what has to be hit before this job is complete.
Yeah, everyone knows those things are measured. Everyone has a powered flow hood, so everyone has that RetroTech $3,500 thing. I got 5 or 6 of those things, and that's how we measure airflow. Yeah, everything has to be hit.
Yeah.
If we don't hit the targets, like it doesn't work as planned, and then it's not good.
Yeah. All right. Well, as we wrap up, Keith, I suspect that most people listening to this are, they're in the boat in terms of, wanting the capability to do this level of work and certainly wanting to do this work. And it's really just about, aligning the marketplace to be able to find enough customers that want thorough jobs to sort of grow a business. So what would you say to those people, maybe going back to those middle years when you were, when the phone wasn't necessarily ringing? What's your counsel to them about how to, forward?
When you get into a home, like be able to be better than everybody. Like if you have all this knowledge from measuring a lot of things and making sure what results you can get, you'll be able to do things that the industry can't do and can't promise. And then that will get you those jobs. And then you'll be able to learn more from those projects about how you can do that by measuring those results. It's not so much, and then you'll get lead generation from that. Like they'll refer you because you're so awesome.
Yeah.
So I would say I would just keep doing it, right? Just keep trying to be awesome. Like there's a huge market for home performance contractors to get into HVAC and be really, really great at it and be better than everyone in your area. And I would always choose that path.
Keith, I think one of the things that I know you've been a longtime participant in a peer group, and I know that's helped a lot with benchmarking kind of the business metrics. So say a little bit more about the value you've gotten out of that.
Yeah, thanks, Peter. So I'm in a contractor peer group where there's 5 of us. We go visit each other's sites twice a year. We rotate and we audit the business. We do interviews with people. We look at the books. We look at processes. We go to jobs. We look at sales. We look at revenue. We look at targets. We look at everything. We get the dirt, and it's insanely awesome. It is so helpful. It's been so helpful for me growing my business and building a strong business with happier employees and just happier me and just getting that perspective. So it's awesome. I can't recommend it enough. And it's just really cool.
Good. Keith, thanks so much for being here.
Yeah.
Really appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. It's an honor. Appreciate it.
The High Performance Edge podcast is brought to you by our company, Energy Circle, the marketing agency that for 15 years has served the most successful high-performance contractors in the country. Curious about whether we might be a good fit for your marketing and website needs? It begins with a no-obligation, no hard sales discussion of your business and goals and an honest assessment of whether we can make an outsized impact on your company. Check out energycircle.com or email me directly at peter@energycircle.com.